Hello and welcome back to Animated Banners with CSS. We've gotten our winter sale text animated, and now we need to animate in the text that's going to replace it. So let's jump into our CSS and do that. We're going to jump into TextMate, and first of all I want to go to banner.css and find text 3 and text 4 to make sure we know where they're supposed to end up. So text 3 is going to end up at a left position of 500. Text 4 is going to end up at a left position of 600. Now remember, these two text fields don't have that initial 1 second animation. They're not going to come in until later. So we just need to create a looping animation for these two. And before I forget, let me mention that we are working in a new folder now. So all the changes we make in this lesson will be saved in the Banner 13 folder. And again, we want to make sure that we remember what these two numbers are, because we need to animate to these numbers, but we don't want them to be on the stage when we start. So we want to set our left position initially for our text 3 field. If you remember, let's go back to Chrome here. Our top piece of text has been animating in from the right, and our bottom piece has been animating into the left. But when we get to the other piece of text, we want it to be the opposite, because as winter is going off to the right, we want the next top piece of text to be coming in from the left. So our second section is kind of going to be the opposite. So the top section here is going to come in from the left, so it needs to be at a negative value. And this is a bigger piece of text than the one in the last section. So we're going to set it to a negative 400 pixels. And it's going to end up at 500 pixels. So let's highlight that and comment it out. And then for text 4, it's going to start off on the right. So it's going to start off at a left position of 920 pixels. So then let's grab this here and comment it out. And that's the position where we need to end up after we animate this on. So let's save that. And let's jump over to animations.css. And in the paragraph section, we're going to take everything we've done so far. And you might notice that I've already taken the liberty of adding the @keyframes rule in addition to the WebKit keyframes rule, just in the interest of saving some time. You'll notice that I'm not including the Mozilla and the Opera rules. You can add those if you want to, but I'm not going to add those anymore. For now, we're just going to do WebKit and keyframes. And again, I've already added the keyframes in there to save us some time. So I'm going to nudge those down a little bit, and we'll come back up to the top. And once again, I'm going to paste an empty pair of animations here. And the percentages have already been entered in for us. We just need to enter in the left values. And the names we gave to these are text 3 loop and text 4 loop. So if we go back to our chart, we can see that they have the same percentage values as paragraph 1 and 2. So here's paragraph 1 and 2 here, and then the two below it are paragraphs 3 and 4. So we're dealing with the same percentage values, we're just doing different things. Where paragraphs 1 and 2 are being animated off, 3 and 4 are being animated on, and vice versa once we get to the end. So again, the percentages themselves are the same. So 0, 44, 48, it's the exact same set of percentages that we used down here with text 1 and text 2. So for text 3, let's go back to banner.css, and for text 3, again, we're starting at negative 400 and animating on to positive 500. So we'll go back to animations.css. So at 0%, we're already going to be off the stage at negative 400 pixels. And then we have that initial 5-second delay, and it's going to stay at negative 400 pixels for those 5 seconds. And then it will quickly animate on from 44 to 48%. So at 48%, it's going to end up at a value of 500 pixels. So we'll come back up here, and at 48%, we'll set our left position to 500 pixels. Now that we've entered that in, we can minimize the confusion by getting rid of it here. Save that and go back to our CSS, our animations.css file. So it animates to 500 pixels, excuse me, and then that stays on for about 5.5 seconds. So it needs to be at 500 pixels here as well at 94%. And then from 94 to 98, it's going to animate back off. So we're going to animate back off to negative 400 pixels, and we'll stay at negative 400 pixels for the rest of that animation. So then we can move on to our second one. So our second one is going to start off on the right at a value of 920 pixels, and it's going to animate to the left. But first, it's going to stay where it is for the first 5 seconds. So at 0% and at 44%, it needs to be at 920, and then it will animate on here to, I think it was 610. No, just 600. So we'll animate on to 600. We'll go ahead and get rid of that there and save it. So at 48%, our left value needs to be 600 pixels, and then it will remain at 600 pixels until 94%, and from 94 to 98, it will animate back off to 920 pixels, and it will remain at 920 pixels until the end of the animation. So let's save that, go back to banner.css, and let's add those two animations to these two classes. So for text 3, we'll add -webkit -animation. We're going to point to txt03 -loop. I want this to last 12 seconds. This is our longer animation, so it's going to be a 12-second loop. We're going to use the regular ease class. We want a 1-second delay before this loop starts, and then we want it to loop infinitely. So then we'll do the same thing for text 04. So I'm going to highlight that, copy it, go down to text 04, paste it, and then just change the name of the loop here to text 04 loop. So let's see if that works. We'll save our file. We'll go back to our browser and refresh the page. So initially, winter sale comes on. After 5 seconds, it will animate off, and hopefully our next piece of text will animate on in its place, and it does not because we forgot to uncomment that HTML here. So let's grab those two paragraphs and get rid of those comments there so that the paragraphs are actually showing up on our page. Save that, and then refresh our page. So winter sale comes on, and we can already see that our text over here is showing up. We might need to fix the width of the text fields, but we see that they are animating off and on now. So let's go ahead and set a width for all 4 of our paragraphs just to make sure that that doesn't happen. So we'll go back to our code, we'll go to banner.css, and we'll start up here with text 01, and we'll just give each one of these a width of 900 pixels. So we'll just highlight that, copy it, and we'll paste it for text 02, for text 03, and for text 04. Save that, refresh our page, and now we won't have that problem anymore. So now when winter sale animates off, the other text should animate on, and it does, and it looks really good. So let's see if the reverse works okay. After a few seconds, it does. Everything animates off, winter sale comes back on, and then we just want to watch it for a second and make sure that it loops okay, and it looks like everything's working just fine. So that takes care of that. Let's go back to our code, and let's go ahead and duplicate under text 01. I'm going to grab this WebKit animation, copy it, paste it, and then just get rid of the WebKit so that we have the regular animation rule or property there. We'll do the same thing here. Copy, paste, go back to the beginning and get rid of -webkit for the second one. And we'll do the same thing under text 03. Copy, paste, and get rid of WebKit. And finally for text 04, copy, paste, and we'll get rid of the WebKit there as well. And you'll notice that we also need to do that for Snow 1 and Snow 2, so we'll go ahead and do that here. Copy, paste, get rid of it there. And then finally for Snow 02, we'll copy that one, paste it on the next line, and get rid of -webkit- so that we just have animation : Okay, so now that we've done that, we just want to test our file again just to make sure we didn't break anything in the process. We'll just watch it switch off once or twice just to make sure that everything still looks okay, and it does. So with that done, we'll go ahead and move on to the next video. Thank you for watching.